What is going on, students? This is definitely Cassidy, aka the Scholar, and I have another video for you guys today regarding Crest Luard. Today we're going to be going over a bunch of the different, lines of play, what a normal, kind of sequencing looks like for the deck, things of that matter, similar to how I did it with the Chronogest Crest deck, earlier a few years ago. I really liked the feedback that I got from that video, and I really want to continue now when I do deck profiles to go and then show different, lines of play and sequencing related to those deck profiles, pretty close to one another, just given some time and some other stuff going on and planning to have my friend come up, so that way we can get some really good RIL games for you all. That's going to be absolutely perfect. So of course we're just going to be going over Crest Luard, so I hope you guys lock in and enjoy what's going on. Of course we're just going to shuffle up here, get started with all that good stuff. And also a quick shout out to Dual Spec and their all FX dice. If you want to go pick some up or any of their other product, use the code SCHOLAR and save a little bit of money on your purchase. Link is in the description down below, as they are still Will and the team is absolutely fantastic over there, so please go help them out. So of course we're just going to simulate that we go first, just in case, we have something going on. All right, so we have 2 Cruiserad and a main. That's a pretty safe keep. And you just want to make sure that you can find the knee. So 3 Cruiserad and a main. All right, so if I miss the crest, I'm bad. That's the little starting point here. But don't worry, we will see what happens, of course. So we'll just finish shuffling up here. And so, since I can't G-assist, of course, because I have this grade 1 in my hand, I would have to G-assist before activating these Cruiserads, but I will draw for turn. Okay, I have a Dragheart Luard, so maybe I'm the best player ever. Who knows? We'll activate one of the Cruiserads and put these 2 on standby. We'll look at the top 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We will, of course, immediately add the Crest Maker. And actually, to kind of continue consistency, we shall see what a second Cruiserad ends up doing here. So we will go ahead and actually activate that one too. 2, 3, 4, and 5. We will add a heal here. That's pretty good. And do we do the third one to try to find an Eldona? Actually, finding an Eldona here wouldn't be bad. Yeah, I'm here for it. So we will go ahead and activate the third one. Just to compress the deck really early is just really good. It just helps you increase, hitting defensive triggers and finding other key pieces. So we will do that here, cut, and we will attempt to find an Eldona. We will not, so we will just add another. Actually, since this can go back later and we probably want some early shield value, we will go ahead and do that and then shuffle. Because we still have a draw to potentially hit an Eldona. Even though we're taking a crit out of the deck, Luard still suffers from the early game. You want to be able to guard early, and so since we don't have a heal guard yet, we want to be able just to defend and attack pretty cleanly, and so these 15k shields do that for us. So of course now, ride the Crest Maker, draw 2 cards, see, boom, Eldona just like that. We'll get the Crest live, and then we'll go ahead and activate the main. The main will go ahead here and search for us. We will search out the Dompud Dragon, activate Dompud's effect, Soul Blast 1 retiring itself. We will go ahead and add Blaster Dark. So now we have our grade 2 ride confirmed. Still just really nice when you find the main and the knees. Just absolutely insane type of work here. As you guys can see too, we've already gone through a lot of turn activations. And now what we will go ahead and do is activate Eldona. And we will go for the top 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 here. We will take a peek. I have 2 grade 1s, so now I get to add grade 2s or greater because of here. So of course, if you don't have the Dragheart, you can add the Dragheart to hand. But since we already do, and I want G-Guards because this advances our game plan just because of the crest, we will add one of those. Plus, again, for early defense. With that, of course, And you know that is turn one. You know what? How many activated effects? You know, let's just do it. Let's just do a quick count here. One. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 effects on turn one. You know, welcome to modern Vanguard, ladies and gentlemen, where it's not, you know, ride pass, but still very, very cool to see here. So yeah, we'll just say we take 1 damage. You know, our opponent just swings at us. It's in the main, whatever. Stand, draw. Okay, another heal. This is like really good for us. Like this is actually low key like the most ideal setup is now because we can just go turn around 45 swing on the Morfessa. Really, really, really good. But of course, we'll ride here into Blaster Dark. We'll activate in the main. Of course, if they have a rear guard and you want to guarantee the twin drive, you can just, you know, counterblast it easily just to, you know, pay the cost and retire the rear guard. But we're just, for this example, we're just going to say no. They didn't. And then what we'll discard here, though, is the slight challenge. I will go ahead and say we get a little crazy and we discard the Belial. This is going to return itself to the deck eventually. So that's why I'm okay with just kind of discarding it for now. You don't want to discard the 15k. We have these defensive. So like everything is pretty dandy in terms of that. So we'll just go for a quick twin drive here. First check is a Honolly. Second check is another knees. So now we have a really good 8k booster. This comes up when you're trying to boost with the Cruiser Raid. So that is all good. No crits here. Your opponent's at 1. Let's say, you know, they go for their next turn, and they like, you know, commit another rear. We can just like, you know, take the Vanguard. And then guard here with the 15k. And we have all of our stuff up. We'll draw here to another Kafar. Ride the good old Dragheart Luard. We will then go ahead and activate the main's effect to search for another 5k power unit. We will go here for the good old Fall Dive Eagle. If you already have the Fall Dive Eagle in hand, other targets can include, you know, finding a Vicro just so that way your counter charge is immediately online, or you could go, since we have the Cruiser Raid in hand, or not the Cruiser Raid, or the Creddy Lad. Since you have the Creddy Lad in hand, you can call the other G-Guard once, guard with the Creddy Lad, bounces to your hand while intercepting with the main to bounce to hand. And other plays like that too. So just free, so that way you are aware of that. Very, very cool skill and like route that the deck has, again, that I explained inside the deck profile. But it's still pretty good. So I'm really, you know, happy that, you know, Shadow still has access to this type of stuff. And then we're just going to make it really easy. We're just going to call the Honolly here, just because our opponent in theory is at 1 damage. We've only swung at them with a Blaster Dark and we hit 0 crits. And then we said for our example that they called in the rear. So unless they have a P-Cham or a way to get rid of this, that this is sticking. And even if we're playing Nova Grappler, they don't have a way to get rid of this. Unless they play P-Cham, because if they go into the Victor Stride that forces you to retire, the Nemain is the automatic target that will just retire itself. So what we'll do here is we'll just swing Twin Drive into the rear, and we'll go a quick Twin Drive check crit. So we'll give everything to here. Second check is the Creddy Lad, so now we're like really in business. This is going to help us tons, and so now, you know, we got all this wonderful stuff going on. We're just not going to swing here, don't want to apply too much pressure, since we can potentially apply a lot of pressure on the following turn. So now you have, this is like kind of where the crux is at. Depending on the matchup, you can go about this like in a lot of different ways. If you know your opponent, like their first stride doesn't leave them with like a super comfortable hand, you can kind of like turbo accelerate to where you can just go G-Guard and then you G-Guard 3 more times. And so that way you get like 6 face up, and then you stride, and then you're flipping one off Morfessa, so that's 35 plus 15. That's 50k to the front row off rip, with potentially hitting stands and things. So that just whatever your matchup is, this is how you're going to do it. But just to show maybe like a play with like Dragabus or stuff, we'll just say like the matchup is a little bit more tempo based, and they're just swinging us at about like, you know, 4 or 5 times and not able to get rid of the Honolly. So what we'll do here is we'll say that we will take the first damage. It's another Honolly. What a shame. Because we really like stacking those. We will guard here with the Fallen Dive Eagle. Then we will G-Guard here again. For the first time. We'll G-Guard using the Credit Lad since its ability is lets it be discarded for the cost of a G-Guardian, and it lets us get a grade 1 in our drop zone for our wonderful ritual count. So we will go here, top 5 for grade 1s. Okay, only one. That's like really awful, but it is what it is. That is a Ezra's. Ezra's unfortunately does not activate because the G-Era version requires it to be called from hand. So what we'll say is we will just guard here with this to make that an appropriate guard amount. And do we have a third? Yeah, we have a third. So we have 3 grade 1s on drop, thankfully, for the skill. But let's just say that, you know, we're playing here. And yeah, this is like really awkward, not gonna lie. So the second check, yes, not anything here. It's another grade 1. Seeing 4 grade 1s in the damage zone is really tough. So we'll just say we'll G-Guard here again. And we're gonna see if we can stabilize here. And we will go for the Jelly Dough actually. Just by flipping this, and what's another card we can guard with from hand? Let's just say it's like a light 20k guard, so that's 3 damage, guarded a few attacks. They like play a counterblast or whatever. We will give them the knees, or do we give them the Hanali since they like? So let's say like this is their last attack. Yeah, we can give them the Hanali actually. Yeah, that's totally fine. In theory, so yeah, we just move. We don't get the additional draw, kind of sucks, but we do have 15k now face up for our G zone. So then we can just, you know, just go stand here, draw. Okay, we do have the Crusader. That is a very, very valuable piece to have. So at the beginning of ride phase, before you ride, you will activate the Dragheart Luard effect. A few different targets actually that we could send back. We could of course send back the Fallen Dive Eagle, and we can send back like the Hanali. I think that those are kind of like your, you know, your best avenues to kind of guard here, just because of like how everything's working out. 2 though, if like your opponent like limited you more so on the counterblast here, you could return back something else, since most likely your call target off in the main would be a 5k. But yeah, it's well, the Vicro, not a 5k of course, but the Vicro, just so that way, you know, you're able to keep your counter charge live and things like that. So just really whatever it is, but we'll just put these 2 back for practicality's sake, and we'll just go in here into a quick Drag Abyss. We'll activate Luard's On Stride. We'll counterblast 1, most likely counterblasting the Ezra's. This is kind of like the top priority of the first card that we want to get out of the deck. We will kill Nemain here. And since our second Belial hasn't returned yet, because now we are at GB, we'll just call Belial, and then we will also call... there's a few avenues actually we could do. We could go for... yeah, actually we can go for that. That's actually totally fine. We'll go for the Hanali again, just so that way we have it live and rocking and ready to go. Or actually, I like calling the Ezra's here a little better, just because we have one in drop, so we can set one up a little more efficiently. And again, no Belial Owl here as the second call target. Most of the time, though, with the Drag Abyss, you would be calling just 2 Belial, just so that way you're continually plussing. And then we will go here for the main effect, so that way we're not drawing and doing a bunch of other stuff. We will go ahead and call here the Fallen Dive Eagle. And there we go. So now we have a PG live again here. We're getting our G-Zone more amped up. We can go ahead now and activate good old Drag Abyss Luard. We're going to kill the Ezra, so that way we can just get it into the drop and then be able to have value cards to retire and get more value out of the effect. And we'll just call 2 grade 1s. We will go ahead and call here Ildana, because it is regarded as a grade 1 in deck. And then we will call the Hanali again. So just that way, now we have both of our recycle targets back. Everything's working out there. So we got a sizable amount of good stuff happening. So we have a PG, Hanali live again. We'll go ahead and remove the Hanali here for easy's sake, and then we'll go ahead and activate the Ezra's. Since we have plenty of grade 1s on drop, we have 4 grade 1s on drop. Actually, so that's going to be huge for us because now the Dragobus Luard is giving an additional power. And of course, I forgot to flip. That is just totally on me. So now we have 20, so now we have 30 between the Dragobus skill and the crest, which is absolutely awesome. And I will denote that here with these awesome die, 30k to the front row to start. This is pretty impressive stuff. So we will do that here, just trying to get everything live again. And then we will draw off the Belial Owl. So another heal kind of sucks. We really wanted to check that versus drawing that, but I guess we have more opportunities to G-Guard now. Just to get our crest even bigger. So what we'll do here is we'll first call the Cursed Eye Raven, just because if we do hit like 2 grade 1s, then we can call the Belial over to get more value off the Eldana. So we'll go ahead and activate the Cursed Eye. Cursed Eye here will shuffle. Top 2. Yeah, bingo. Absolutely critical there. And we will call over the Belial Owl. And we will call over the Nemain. And now we are like super set. So what we'll do here is we'll just swing 35 with the good old Fallen Dive Eagle. Then we'll go ahead and swing with the Dragobus for this is 2858 triple drive. We'll go here first check, knees, second check, Ezra's, third check is another Ezra. So actually now our hand looks like a lot better than what it once did. I'm more comfortable now, like actually surviving, because we're about to draw 3 more cards. And then we will go ahead and swing Eldana. Of course, if you need to stand, we'll just be restanding this. We'll activate Eldana's effect to counterblast. And I'd say we counterblast the Hanali, just in case we hit a heal on the next turn or whatever. Kill these 2, draw 2 off of Eldana, and then we'll go ahead and draw 1 off the Belial Owl. So as you guys can see here, kind of tough. You really wanted these in for the Morfessa, but like that's just the risk you run playing Luard. You're compressing your deck very quickly. Similar to Grand Blue, you'll just start drawing into triggers. But our hand here, I will say, is pretty healthy, being at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cards. At the end of that, with a guaranteed PG on board, is pretty sick. And then we'll do all the end of turn shenanigans while your opponent's being under a Hanali for their turn. Is we'll just give you back 4 crits in the deck. So since we no-costed with the Luard Stride, we can target this crit to put back, and then these Belial Owls return themselves to the deck automatically. So again, just really good stuff here. And then, you know, power goes away because it's like on our turn, but so good. And this is just so that way I can show you guys where it is on the crest. If you guys say it's right here, if it focuses. Sorry, like my orientation so off because I'm trying to do this like in the thing. Stride, you can choose 1 crit, put on the bottom of your deck right there. So just so you guys know, because the crests do things. So it's really important. Just shame that the Night Rose crest doesn't do as much, because that was my favorite crest ever, just being able to reverse stack my deck with triggers. But this deck can do the same. So now we're at 4. A little bit of a precarious position, but we'll just say, you know, my opponent has 5 attacks again. We limited. Okay, heal. We will just say my opponent's at 4. I did leave them at 1, and I only did like 3 more attacks and did not hit a crit. So what I'll do here is I will just drop the Ezra's and give my Vanguard 10k, and then I can take this again. Okay, that's a Karen. That's like really bad. Not gonna lie. Actually, you know what? To showcase a proper thing, we're just gonna say we don't hit the Karen. We'll just hit another Dragheart Luard, just because like we will have to figure out how to play around the Karen, but I don't want to show that off since I'm trying to say like why you show having Karen in the deck. Then we'll PG here with the Fallen Dive Eagle, guard with the OT, PG here with another Ezra's. We'll discard What do we discard here? I'd say discard a knees. Now we got Ezra's live. And then for like the final swing here, just turbo out these G Guardians. So we'll discard all three because, like, let's say this is just the final waves of attack. So of course we'll guard with Dismal first, and then we'll guard with Dark Veil. And then so that way our last G-Guard doesn't prevent us from G-Guarding, which would be that last Jelly Dough. So boop. Again, why I play the G-Guards just because, again, you guys can see like really easily. You guys can be in those positions where you can just advance your G-Zone. So like it helps you have closeout power. Because none of the strides really change whole much like what you have access to unless you like really wanted to play an Ogma. But that card really rarely ever comes up anyway. So we have these here. So of course like this attack is most likely guarded. This is like 23, 30, so 53, and then however much the Dark Veil is, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so 9, so it'd be plus 20, so plus 35, so it'd be like upwards of like 80 something defense. Yeah, we'll cover most things in this game, and we'll just say like, again, that's the last attack that they have. Of course, barring like, you know, you have to do what you have to do. If they have like one more attack, your play would just be to do Ezra's discard. And then we'll stand here. Draw. It is a crit. How unfortunate. What we'll do here is we will go for good old Luard here. So if you have gone into a position where you like call Vicro or call Karen in the earlier turns, to guarantee to have them in deck, you will put them back in deck from the drop zone to like go into your Morfessa turn. But since we do not, this is actually pretty interesting. Never really have ran into this scenario. What I'll do here is I'll put back a Crusader and I'll put back an Eldona because I have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I have, let's just say like off of this alone, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I have 10 cards that are automatically not leaving the drop zone that will apply for my ritual once I activate the effect of Morfessa. So yeah, these are two perfectly fine targets to go back into the deck. If you healed out the Hanali though too, like you could like return the Hanali. It just depends on what you healed out. It's all situational. I can't say like this is what you have to do. I'm just again showing you guys sequencing. Free stride happens, so we will go and grab Morfessa. On stride of Luard here. It's a little tough since we don't have the Maple and Drop Zone. Of course, if you have the Maple and Drop Zone, you're just going to call it sack it because this is really good numbers. But we'll have to kill the Eldana here and find 2 Belial Owls. But again, our hand looking pretty healthy, all things considered. So we got that going on. We'll go ahead and activate since we didn't kill a Belial Owl. There's nothing in the process. We just have the deck up. We'll call the Vicro. And then we will go ahead actually and do something pretty funny. We will go ahead and activate here the first wave of Ezra's to return, and we will kill the Vicro. So that way we can countercharge 1. And then what we'll go here for is we'll go for our first Curse Eye Raven and shuffle. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to increase like the stand you're drawing with Morfessa. Since like while you're compressing, so that way you can just being able to specifically filter out like what you need. So we'll see like, you know, what happens here. So we'll just cut again, top 2 here, Belial and a Maple. Low key, that's like super perfect. And then what we'll go here for is we will go for the other Ezra's here to retire the Belial, put her back to the bottom of the deck, and then of course draw 1 card, another Crusader, a little tough but all good. And then what we'll do here is we will activate Morfessa's. Actually, no, even better yet, we'll just go for Cursed Eye again. Just again, thinning out the deck, increasing, you know, the Cursed Eyes we could just draw back into. Top 2 are both Eldonas. You could call these out, or actually, yeah, we're kind of forced to call these out now at this point. That's the thing that kind of sucks. We're forced to call these out just because, like, there's no way for us to necessarily get back to them to shuffle. If we had another cursed eye, I would refuse. But since we don't, we don't. Or actually, I'll just call one. I'll keep one on the bottom. And I'll activate Morfessa here, because we could potentially draw into more cursed eyes. And then find other ways to get into cards. Or actually, no, we don't. Because, yeah, we've used all of our Belials. Because our third one, yeah, there's in drop. So we have no way. So stop listening to what I'm saying. I'm trying to big brain this too hard. So we'll just flip, kill these two, draw 4, Crusader, stand, Ezra's, and Dragheart. So cool, our Karen is still left in deck, and we're pretty now compressed on our deck size. Here, call over, activating the stand once again. And we'll go for the top 2. An Osir and an Ezra's. Of course, we just want to be maximizing what we can find, so don't worry about it. We will call here the Crusader, call here over the Ezra's, and then call this Dragheart Luard. So currently we're at 15k off the Morfessa, and then we are at, off the crest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're at 50 off the crest, so we're at 65. Goodness gracious, 65 off the crest here between Morfessa and the crest. So yeah, pretty dangerous numbers. So what we'll go first is we'll go for 78, and then we will swing here with 18 plus 65. That is 83. 83 with the Battledore guard 2 crit, of course, because of the Morfessa skill. We'll call out the Karen. Everything in our deck is a stand, so we're guaranteed to hit double stand. But before that, we will go ahead quickly and activate Karen's effect to Soul Blast one out here and counter charge. So more importantly, it's about getting the Vicro out of the Soul. Again, like I explained in the profile, you really want to get the Vicro out of Soul. But this gets plus 3k now, so this is 11, so 65 plus 11 is 76, so we go 76 here. Again, 2 crit, 2 card guard, swing Morfessa, triple drive, oop, here we go, oop, here we go, oop. Power here though, we will just give, since we know, and this is a little bit bigger, we will give at least 2 of the 5Ks here when we restand this, just because of that way where it's like 21, and then we'll make this like a little bit bigger, just because it is a magic number on almost everything right now in the premium format, because most stuff in premium is 13k, so just getting another 5k there on the 18 is really huge. But yeah, that is that, and most likely if your opponent did not hit an over trigger or sack like crazy, they are dead, because 65 is very hard. Even before like you start getting your other numbers involved, basically, of the units, it's very hard to handle. So yeah, that's kind of what a Crest Luard progression of turns looks like. But now I'm going to go and kind of explain to you just like other lines of play. I really want to show off the Osir line. What I'll do here is just show you the types of plays now going forward, so you kind of see like how the deck can go out and feel and things of that nature. Again, this is just all simulation. I will show you guys live games once my buddy comes up. We'll get some games recorded for y'all. Maybe even do a little bit of a Crest Rose versus Crest Luard to see what happens when the Battle of the Crest decks occur. So hopefully those are good games and neither of us miss the crest. But we'll go now here for it. So I will show you guys really quickly just why I really like playing the Osir stand over the 4th Belial. But as you guys can see, like the 4th Belial sometimes just comes up just because of how math works. So if you just really want to be safe and always draw into, playing the 4th Belial is totally understandable. But so when you go into so like, yeah, let's say like, you know, you're just going into your stride, and we won't even necessarily go into this, but just like if you're going in your stride, let's say like we're back off like the 3G guards, right, that we had earlier in that example of just like going, you know, slow gaming, not wanting to be super fast off the progression. So if we were just here like that, and I guess I'll set it up just because like I should. And I'll show you guys too how to play unlimited CB with this example as well. So let's just say like This was our damage zone. We only had 2 damage. Of course, we have the Luard, we have the knees, and we have the Blaster Dark in our stack here. And then we have the Nemain, and the other Nemain here was our Stride progression. Yeah, and then I don't think it necessarily matters. Let's just say okay, so let's just say in a perfect universe, we have this, we have the Cruiserades are like uber dead. That's out of the deck too. That. Guard with that. We have 2 of the G guards out. We have the Cruddy Lad and the... Where's a heal? There's a heal. Boom, just like that. Okay, so let's say like our drop zone looks something like this, and then we have, you know, another main and a knees. Yeah, okay, let's just say like that's that. So that way we can discuss. And then we'll just say in hand, because this is what your hand can like most likely look like, and we'll just say we have the maple for this example too, so that way we can accurately describe what is going on inside the turn, and just show you guys how to play off of limited counterblasts. So we'll just say that the Fall Dive and the Hanali are in here, since we can do this from the top of the turn. And then we just have random ass cards. Let's just say that we have this like we did in hand, and this and this. Okay, let's just say that that's our hand. Again, these are all purely hypothetical, not trying to stack or anything like that. We're just trying to rewind it to like what a position might look like before you make your first stride play. And of course, if you just wanted to dump and go Morfessa because your turn is set up like that, that's totally fine too. It'll just been 55 over something else, but it's all good. Don't worry. We got it, boys. We got it. So we'll go again, same like type of theory. We have nothing necessarily to put back, so we'll just go ahead and grab these. This is obviously stud. Go ahead and stride into Kraukrok. Kraukrok here, or the Luard skill will you can either keep the Nemain or you can revive the Maple. For me, I'm going to kill the Nemain just for the sake of showing you and increasing ritual. But like this card is insane to have in Luard, honestly. Like I even may like pick up one of the nicer versions just because like this card is so good. I love having Maple to show off and be like, oh yeah, by the way. So yeah, no, Maple's sick. I love Maple so much. And so now we're going to be able to do it to where we can find 2. And of course your opponent will have to be at 2 or less rear guards, just so that way he gets the ability to activate, which is a reason why people might play Dragfall, just so that way if they're on stride they can retire something before having to commit to this. That's just a thing. But remember that Dragfall is very limited and kind of like what it can call, but it can call a Sir as well. You just don't get to plus. But however, when I like to play off limited counterblast, to where like I could be in a position where I could be denied, because if I go and I do the Kraukrok skill on its own, it dies. And Kraukrok does not proc Vicro because Kraukrok does not have ritual. So that way you guys know what that's going on too. So most likely here, I would just call a Karen. And then go ahead and activate the Kraukrok effect. Kraukrok says retire 2 rear guards, so we'll go ahead and retire the Asur, because the Asur for the retirement of something can count as 2 rear guards. It's really fire. And then, you know, it gets the skill, and of course also 2 on the call, right? You don't want to just miss Karen. I'm explaining all these things and I'm missing steps. Don't want to do that, but okay, we'll go here, we'll kill the Asur, and then go to shuffle. The really good stand. So now we've shuffled, we've paid for the cost. Kraukrok has the ability to restand, and then depending on how you may want stuff to die or go for or whatever, you could have, you know, even more value potentially hit the board. So what you could do is, if you really just want to conserve your hand, you can bank off of just calling both of these off the curse die, or if you want more for the Belial Owl, you can go and draw cards, because again they're retired for the effect, so they will draw while he's about to restand with more drives. Just really whatever you want to do. I like drawing and forcing back the Belial Owl, so that's what I will go ahead and do. I'll go ahead and activate in the main, forcing out once again the Fallen Dive Eagle, because the Fallen Dive Eagle is so good. One of my favorite cards actually in Shadow Paladin, just because like the defensive edges that you can have inside Luard is really cool. So any Shadow Paladin premium deck that's playing the main, you have to play Fallen Dive Eagle. The fact that you can just call out a PG if you need it for these crazy decks that have wild rearguard swings is so good. And then we'll go ahead and just call the Belial Owl from hand. It's the same level of commitment, just because you are calling the card from deck. You just have to be careful on like what you're retiring necessarily. So let's just say, yeah, we have 15k from the front row now because of the crest. So we will just denote that here. So we'll just go for a light 24. And then what we'll do here is we'll also swing with this column. Again, we're banking on hitting the stands. So we'll just swing first with Croc here. This is 30, 43, triple drive. So we'll go first check Eldana, second check is a stand trigger. Of course, we are restanding this because this is the unit that we're going to keep on the board. And the third check is a crit. We'll give the crit to the we'll give the crit to the restanding Vanguard and the power to the Fallen Dive Eagle, as well as the Fallen Dive Eagle. Got the 5k from the stand, so now it is a 35k on its own. So now it's an actual sizable number. I hate that like the attacks are so small just because it is a 5k. So like, you know, you got to pick your poison. You know, PG, that's also like a good beat stick, or just, you know, PG or beat stick. You know what I mean? But it's all good. We'll activate Croc's effect here, counterblasting the domain, just in case like, you know, our opponent's at low damage or whatnot, and then we'll just retire the Maple and the Belial Owl. Belial Owl will proc having us draw a card while on the restand. Sucks that's another crit, but like, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Also note that too, though, like the reason you can get away with just leaving the Karen in the back and not retiring it is because you will have the access to Jelly Dough. Like again, this is all sequencing. I can't like tell you guys every single actionable game state in one video, or we'd be here for hours, because Luard is just such this really cool, not like super complex deck, but a deck that can read game states very well and adapt and be able to apply and be able to appropriately react to those different type of game states that are occurring. So that's why you just really want it there. But again, we draw off the Belial. Either if you know you think you have another standard deck, you can swing this, then this, and then, oh, cool, look at that, stand one more time, second, third, boom, just like that, and then one last go. And then, of course, your end of turn's looking about the same. You know, you just shove the Belial back. If you have other Belials, you can shove those back. It's just really, really cool. But, like, that's the Croc turn where you can play super limited just for one CB and still end up with just so many good value cards in hand. It's just insane. And the fact that this just fulfills the cost where you don't have to sack a lot of rear guards, so that way you can still have an applicable board, is really good. But also too, you want to know, like, if you're going into Croc because you're playing into matchups where you want your board cleared, then yeah, it is appropriate to not call this. But there's been just some times where it's like, I need a card to go back in the deck once I retire it, but I need to use it. And so that's what also serves for. It's just like on those Morfessa turns, it's like, okay, cool, like I'm low, I'm going to be drawing two, but I need to only really necessarily draw one. Then it's like, cool, this fulfills the cost and shoves itself back in the deck. It's a stand. It helps progress my game plan. And I just think that stands are just such the way of the game that I think it really warrants just playing the additional copy of the stand trigger. And it's just a really huge plus that it goes back to deck, just like Cursed Eye Raven. But yeah, that's really what, you know, Crest Luard looks like, man. There's nothing super like huge. It's not as in tune as Gear Chronicle, you know, where you're trying to do like all these crazy multi-attack combos. You're really just trying to pace out the game, limit your opponent and like what they can do, limit, you know, the amount of resources you're giving them, kind of force the deck to a grind game to where like in the late game you have like all these cards face up in the G zone and you're just cracking on your opponent with some fat numbers and guard restrict from Morfessa. But yeah, this deck is super cool, man. I have a lot of fun with this. I will tell everybody again, like, this is hands down my favorite Crest deck I've ever played, and I've played a lot of them. I've played, of course, Gear Chronicle. I've played the Crest Night Rose deck. I played just all these different lines of just playing Crest Rose and things like that. So I just realized I never did a Crest Rose deck profile on my channel while I had the deck, but you live and you learn. But yeah, I played Crest Rose. I played Crest Messiah. I've played this deck. The only, and I actually have played the Sharanui Crest deck. I just never owned it. But yeah, I've played all the Crest decks, and just Luard feels the best, man. It just feels so cool. I love the fact that I think it's more the nostalgia for me of just G cards, playing Luard, seeing Dragheart, because like, oh, these lovely triple Rs, man. I love these. I need to get the stamps, but I can only be so rich because I just finished the Geese collection, which a Geese deck profile is coming soon. Once I lock in for more so like what will kind of be the norm for this upcoming BCS season, just given that we didn't get a ban list. So going back to the testing board, was really hoping that they were going to neuter the loot decks a little bit, but it's fine. But if you guys just want to play a lot of fun premium and you have a lot of the Shadow Paladin stuff, I highly recommend you picking up Crest Luard and playing it, because it is just the most fun deck I've had. But if I missed anything glaring in the combos, I am not the Luard savant. I am not like one of the Luard one tricks that have, done it since Luard's come out. I've just really appreciated the deck and the art style for a long time. So if I missed anything, please let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys aren't subscribed, consider subscribing. Trying to make that push to 2K, and we are getting very close, as we are just a little over 1,600. So again, thank you for everyone that has subscribed and because I'm trying to get my videos back out on the algorithm, so that does light years of assisting if you guys go ahead and do that. But I love you all very much. Stay tuned for more content. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week, and of course a wonderful rest of your day, and of course God bless and take care.